benefits will be loaded on April 8th, 2022 after 7 p.m. Okay, therefore, this is a no-brainer. The PBT card can only be used once the benefits are loaded. Yeah, try and use it now with nothing in it and see how it works, and then call me and tell me about it. Benefits are valid for 1 year, and it's going to be $483. Okay, that is really going to help a lot of people. It's almost like another program in Salapi, right? Thank you for the federal. It's 8:30. Good morning. Calvo Enterprises, IT&E, and Jack in the Box. Proud to sponsor this episode of The Link. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Filling in for our Wednesday check-in with Superintendent John Fernandez, we have the acting Superintendent, Erika Cruz, in the KUAM News Link Zoom room. Good morning, Erika.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
We're doing pretty good in here. How are you?
Pretty good. I just wanted to say before we started our interview is that, during the lockdown, the link was very soothing for me to be able to get information and, having you guys provide information to us that kept us, sane in some sense. And so it was always great to listen to the link, and thank you today for this opportunity to be interviewed.
Wow, I think we should start every interview like that, right? What do you think,
No,
sir?
I'm serious.
No, thank you,
Yeah,
Erika. Really, thank you
but
so much. And
honestly,
yeah,
I mean, all the information that you guys provided, I know it was taxing on all of you guys. My nephew worked with you guys for a little bit,
yeah.
and so, I know that you guys are up very early in the morning, setting up interviews with people and just getting having the island know what's going on, because many times we read about pandemics but we never experience a pandemic, right? So it is completely new to us and very fearful for many people, and a lot of people go through anxiety and depression just being not knowing anything.
Yeah.
And so having the link was very important as far as providing information to our community. And I would like to thank KUAM for that.
Well, Erika, I want to thank you for your kind words. I mean, we do get those compliments once in a while, but I think for us, it was Sabrina's call to do this show, and the way she had put it was people are going to need to know things, and they're going to need to know them right away. And we just felt like having this morning show was the best way to do it. So, I mean, I'll pass your kind words on to Sabrina. This was all her call, is all her idea, her baby. But
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day and at the beginning of the day, we really just felt like we had a job to do. And so, pandemic or not, we wanted to do that job. And I mean, it was therapeutic for me too, to come in here. And, I mean, in some ways it was a lot too to process, just having to talk to the people about, the cases and the deaths and the restrictions and all that stuff. But I
Right, and you
appreciate
don't
your
feel
words.
alone, right? When you're listening to the link, you don't feel alone because you hear other people with their comments and their
Right.
concerns and what their fears are. And you guys just being there just to be that therapy person to just listen and understand what they're going through. So yes, definitely, Sabrina, thank you very much for this project.
Erica, let's go ahead and get into it then. So I know that John is off island. We had heard he was meeting with DOE. Are you able to tell us what that's about?
Well, I know he has a meeting. I don't know exactly. I'm sure it's part of the high risk that we want to get off. And so he typically has an annual meeting with the US DOE, and so I'm pretty much sure that that's what he's going to be discussing with them when he's out there.
Erica, I wanted to get an update on attendance rates since students resumed since January 3rd from Christmas break. What are you guys tracking on attendance?
Well, I can't give you figures right now, but because the governor has lifted the truancy law, which is the Executive Order 2022-08, we know that our attendance is going to increase. We were tracking about 26,500 students attending classes at this point, and we typically hover maybe about 28,000 students. At one point, we were we had about over 1,000 students that we weren't able to communicate with, and then the numbers went down to 700, and then now we were able to get in contact with all of our students that we were not able, who were no shows practically in the elementary, middle, and high school level. However, the truancy is important because students would now have to come to school on a daily basis unless they are sick or they have a valid reason for not being in school. And so the magic number for truancy, it's called the Office Truancy Referral Form. And teachers track truancy because we're required by law of students of compulsory age from 5 to 18 should be in school. And so 3, 6, 9, and 12, right? And so if students are absent for 3 days, 6 days, absent for 6, 9, and 12 days, when they reach that 12th day, then they could be adjudicated and would have to appear before a judge in court. And so this is if it's an unexcused absence or we're not able to track the students. And so obviously that's our last resort. We don't want to send students to the court system. However, we work closely with our parents. We do have social workers. We have school resource officers who do home visits just to find out what we can do to better assist our students.
Erika, what, can you tell us a little bit about was there a conversation with the governor about this executive order that she had come out
Yes.
with? Yeah.
Yes, and she concurred, and we appreciate her lifting the truancy law. I mean, as you know, there's just been a lot of violence involving a lot of young kids that are out late, coming home, maybe not even coming home, or coming home at 6, 7 in the morning, unable to go to school. And so it's important that kids are in school. They have a schedule. They have to be at school at a certain time and focus on their education so they can graduate and get a high school diploma, go to work, or go on to college.
Yeah. How bad was it, Erika? Because it sounds like, just from what I'm hearing from different schools, like it was like the truancy was like really bad. And is that what warranted this conversation with the gov?
Well, the thing about it is we don't see it much in the elementary and middle school level. Obviously, these are children, and you're not going to have children unattended at home. However, high school students, right, they're 15, 16, 18 years old. And maybe parents may not know that their kids are not going to school. However, we did have students coming in 2 to 3 hours late to school because they came in whenever they wanted because there was no truancy law, or they woke up late, or whatever it may be, whatever excuse they had. So that was an issue for high schools, is to kind of overlook that. And so a letter went out from one of the high schools that students will not be admitted into the campus if they're not at school on time with a valid reason.
Was this GW?
Yes, that was George Washington High School. However, that was throughout the high schools where kids were just waltzing in at any hour, maybe
Chamorro Standard Time?
Yeah, probably.
No, miss, I'm on Chamorro Standard Time. Get over here, boy.
Yeah, but, March is Mesh Tomorrow month, so
Yeah.
I guess no.
I got you.
So, yeah, we're glad that the executive order rescinded the truancy law, and that we're able to hold our students accountable now for coming to school.
Erika, I've seen somewhere the Period Poverty Act. Are you guys lacking the funds to implement that program?
No, we're not. I spoke with our deputy of finance, and we do have funding. And so I'm currently working with our nursing administrator to be able to purchase feminine hygiene products for our students, or our female students. Initially, my understanding was that we did not have funding, but we do have $100,000 that we are able to use for our students.
Was there an internal survey issued to teachers regarding their thoughts about online learning? And if there was,
Yes.
what were the findings of that?
Yeah, so what we did was we We surveyed teachers, we surveyed administrators, and a majority of our schools wanted students back in school. When you do online teaching, we're dedicating particular teachers to teach specifically online, and it hampers the operations when we don't have enough teachers in the classrooms. And so the elementary schools had a regional online schooling where you could be a student at Daniel Paris, but your teacher is over at 1M Guerrero. Middle schools had one or two sections. The teachers had to teach one or two sections of online, and then the rest of the sections they taught face-to-face. And then high school was the same. If I was at JFK and I needed an Algebra 2 class, and I didn't have it at JFK, or there wasn't an online teacher at JFK, then I would have to tap into Simon Sanchez, for example, to get that Algebra 2 teacher. And so it's difficult for teachers generally. It's hard to teach online. And so we did survey administrators and teachers as well as parents. We're still working on the parent survey. That should be in for me to review by Friday, but just a preliminary look at the survey for parents, it looks like parents want their kids back in school. Everybody is going back to work. Life is pretty much going back to normal as normal can be. And so, teachers, administrators, as well as the GFT supports on in-person learning for next school year.
Right. Erika, you mentioned Simon Sanchez briefly. Is there an update with Simon Sanchez, design, construction, all that stuff?
They meet on a weekly basis, and they're hoping to break ground soon, but I know that they've completed the design of Simon Sanchez at this point. I don't know the complete details. That's not part of my, it's not under my project. And I know the superintendent will be able to provide more information to you. However, I know they are finishing with the designs, and we meet on a weekly basis to ensure that we break ground soon. Carla Mesnine has been principal over at Simon Sanchez for quite a long time, and she could retire, but she's waiting to see that new school before she hands off the keys to the new principal. And so we're hoping that we'll be able to break ground soon.
Yeah, I mean, I know you can't really speak to the specifics of it, but just generally speaking, as this project nears, the end phases, right? Do you feel that kind of like we're really here? It's going to get done? Because I feel like we've been, we haven't been this far down the road, right? But there have been a lot of conversations where it's like, we're ready to go. And then there was a protest and everything.
Yeah. Well, we've worked with another government agency, and GDOE opted to take on the responsibility. Yeah. And we know how important it is for Simon Sanchez to be rebuilt. And so our team is working diligently with our architectures and whatnot to ensure that we get that school built. There was a lag of perhaps maybe 2 years, but since we've taken over, we've not had any major issues that would hamper the process of getting Simon Sanchez rebuilt.
Right. I wasn't sure if I wanted to ask about the grass cutting, Erika.
Sure. So we do have JJ Global. We have, obviously, that many of our schools are having issues with grass cutting services. And so what's good about our contract is it's on an annual basis. And so, the superintendent will review the contract and determine whether he wants to continue or discontinue services. But, we try to work very closely with JJ Global, especially the school administrators, to ensure that they're satisfied with the grass cutting services that are being provided to us. We thank the mayors, though, for sometimes stepping in. Many of our schools to help us out when we need our grass cut. Especially, in the middle schools and high schools, right? We have sports, so we got to make sure that uh, if there's a soccer game or a baseball game or whatnot, we want to ensure that the field is safe for our students. And so we thank the mayors for their help, and we are currently reviewing uh, the contract. The contract is up in June, and so it will go out to bid again, and we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah, I know there was a media report, and in that report, the superintendent John Fernandez was very critical of the services being provided by the vendor. I think what you just said, Erica, is where you have a vendor who's supposed to be providing a service, and I don't know the details of it. But then when you're over here talking about how you have a vendor, but then you're also thanking the mayors for stepping up and cutting the grass that I thought the vendor was supposed to be.
Absolutely. And so we're trying to work with the vendors. Principals are, we've worked with the mayors for a very long time, and this is their village school. So of course they're always going to step up and help our school principals when they do need help, when they do make that call. However, we are working closely with our vendor and ensuring that they cut the grass properly, because if grass is not cut the way the principals want it, meaning that that it's we're not asking for an immaculate cut, but cut so that the students are safe when they're on our campus. Principals have that ability to either sign off or not sign off that he or she is not happy with the services that were provided.
Have there been principals signing off on paperwork saying they're not happy with the services provided from the vendor?
Well, they don't sign off if they're not happy.
So have there been instances where that has occurred?
Oh, I'm sure. Yes. And they come back and they make their fixes wherever they need to, wherever they missed or wherever they need to cut, and then the invoice is signed once the principal signs off, approves it.
I'm sorry. Is it? Do they get like X amount of dollars just to cut the schools, or is it like a piecemeal, like per
They're on
cutting?
a contract. So they're on a contract based on our schools that are not our lease schools, but our schools that are DOE schools.
I see.
So they're on a contract, and obviously they put out we put out a request to bid, and we have vendors who put in a contract or put in a bid,
Right.
and we determine which vendor will best fit our needs. And so at this point, this is the vendor that we're currently working with.
Right.
It is something that is reviewed on an annual basis. So that's where we're at this point.
Erica, before I let you go, I wanted to ask. I think I asked John about this a few weeks back, but now that things are different, there's no more outdoor gathering limit. The governor has raised the indoor gathering limit to 250. I was just thinking proms, graduations. Do these announcements
We
affect
are
that?
having graduation. There is no grad and go. All schools have opted to have. So we have Simon Sanchez and Okadu High School. I can't give you the dates right now. I don't have it at the top of my head. I do have it on my calendar, but Okadu High School and Simon Sanchez will be having their graduation over at the University of Guam Fieldhouse. Southern High School will be having their graduation over at the Paseo Stadium. John F. Kennedy, George Washington, and Teason High School will be having their graduation on their campus. So yeah, it's going to be a formal graduation. We want to go back to normal as much as possible. We want it memorable for our students as well as our parents. And so the teachers and the advisors, as well as the school administrators and students, voted to have an in-person graduation rather than a grad and go. But before you let me go, there were a few things I wanted
You
to
didn't
mention.
even get to the things you wanted to mention. Oh, okay, yeah, go ahead. You got the floor,
Yeah.
Erica.
Well, I wanted to remind parents, so we have our Guam Department strategic plan. It's a 5-year strategic plan. And we have parent input, which starts today with the Lago and Luthen district. And then tomorrow is our Cutson and Haza district. And then Friday is our island-wide PTO, and it's at 6 o'clock. They can join via Zoom. We did have a press release that went out, or they can call their school to find out what the Zoom link is. And we're also going to be on Facebook. And so we encourage parents to provide input on our strategic plan, which are 7 of them, which are leadership, curriculum and instruction, parent engagement, student discipline and safety, facilities and maintenance, finance, and then data. And so it's important for parents to provide input, because this is going to be the this is the roadway for DOE in the next 5 years, where we want to be. Just like you, Chris, I know you're going through a journey, right? You have a plan as far as being healthy. And, you know, I follow you, and it's great that you wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning to work out and eating healthy. And that's great. And it's the same thing with the Department of Education. We want to know where we're going to be in 5 years. We're not going to go 1 year at a time. And so we've already got input from our administrators, teachers, and then this Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we want input from our parents. Another thing that I wanted to discuss is parent-teacher conference is this week. We have our high schools on the 25th of March, and the middle schools is March 28th. So parents, if you want to come face-to-face and meet with our teachers to talk about your child's progress in school, they're more than welcome to come face-to-face, or they can Zoom, or it could be a phone conversation. So that press release has also gone out, and I'm sure the schools have also provided information to our parents.
Well, that's good to hear. I mean, not for the kids who were naughty, but yeah. So for my kids, Erika, the last couple of years, it really has been. I mean, I'm very lucky. My kids are well behaved and they're doing great in school. So we've been doing the phone call. I've been getting a phone call from the teacher. So yeah, parent-teacher conference. It does. It really does, Erika.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, especially for those parents that are working and aren't able to come in, right? It's helpful that we provide that flexibility, whether it's by phone or via Zoom. We're able to accommodate our parents in any way, just so that they're aware of what's happening with their children.
Has the accessibility and how you've increased the different options, has it led to more parental involvement in parent-teacher conferences?
Definitely, especially in the middle school and high school. For elementary, you know, we always get high numbers of parents that come to parent-teacher conference, but we're getting more calls and more inquiries about their child's progress. But we also have something called Power School, and parents are able to. It's a portal where you can actually see your children's grades. At any time. You don't have to wait for parent-teacher conference. So, you don't have to wait until parent-teacher conference to find out that your kid is failing a class when it's already too late. You have the student portal and the parent portal to be able to review grades at any time. But yeah, we're getting parents calling. It's easier for them. We know that they work and they have a schedule, and we're able to work with them in any way.
Thank you, Erika. Does that conclude your list, or did you have anything else? She had 5 items, guys. Like she said, she planned for this. There were 5 action items on her bullet point list.
I'll be acting next week, so I can save it for next week.
Okay, so we'll see.
A new school calendar, but I think the superintendent talked to you about that already.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So we'll see you next Wednesday too, then, Erika.
All right. You take care.
You too. Thank you for your kind words. Yes.
All right.
And just to go back, I want to correct you when you talked about my journey and working out. The only thing you got wrong was the eating healthy. That eating healthy is kind of.
Oh, it's not. Sorry. But
That's
you're
all right.
working out,
I
which is
am,
good.
yeah. That's why I'm not eating
I'm
healthy.
sure you feel more energy.
Thank you, Erica.
You're welcome.
We'll see
All
you.
right. You take care and
You
have a
too.
great week.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Erika Cruz, awesome lady, the acting superintendent of the Guam Department of Education. There you go. Didn't miss a beat. I mean,